Have you ever wondered why, despite your relentless pursuit of perfection, satisfaction always seems just beyond reach? Why, no matter how much effort you pour into your work, your appearance, or your life, the feeling of contentment slips through your fingers like sand? In a world that glorifies flawlessness and celebrates unattainable ideals, the pressure to be perfect has silently woven itself into the fabric of our lives. We are conditioned to believe that perfection is the gateway to acceptance, success, and happiness. But beneath this pursuit lies an uncomfortable truth. The hidden cost of chasing perfection is far greater than we realize. It steals the hours meant for joy, drains the energy reserved for creation, and erodes our sense of self-worth. It leaves us spinning in a relentless cycle of self-criticism, where the finish line is always just out of reach. We find ourselves stuck, constantly striving yet never arriving, questioning our value with every perceived flaw. Perfectionism, though often disguised as ambition or high standards, is a deceptive force. It cloaks itself in the guise of excellence, whispering promises of fulfillment and validation. It convinces us that if we just push harder, look better, or achieve more, we will finally feel enough. Yet, perfection is an illusion, a mirage on the horizon that recedes the moment we get close. The more we pursue this imagined ideal, the more we lose sight of the beauty in our imperfection and the authenticity that makes us human. Perfectionism demands more than our best. It demands everything, yet offers nothing in return. In striving to perfect every detail, we sacrifice spontaneity, creativity, and the joy of simply being present. Slowly, without even noticing, we trade the peace of mind that comes with self-acceptance for the endless pursuit of something unattainable. We convince ourselves that once we reach perfection, we'll find happiness, only to discover that the journey has taken us further from it. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast desert, chasing a mirage. The closer you think you are, the further it retreats, always promising relief yet delivering none. This is the nature of perfectionism, a journey with no destination. It lures us with the promise of satisfaction, yet leaves us parched with self-doubt and burned by the weight of unrealistic expectations. Each step forward feels heavier than the last, and every fleeting glimpse of progress is overshadowed by the overwhelming sense that it is still not enough. And while we are consumed by this chase, life quietly slips through our fingers. The moments that truly matter, the connections with loved ones, the joy of creative expression, the small victories that bring genuine happiness, are left in the shadow of our relentless quest for flawlessness. In striving for the perfect life, we risk missing out on the beauty of the imperfect one we already have. Social media magnifies this struggle, amplifying the illusion of perfection. Every carefully curated post, every airbrushed image, every highlight reel subtly reinforces the belief that perfection is not only achievable but expected. We scroll through endless snapshots of polished lives, subconsciously comparing our behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's spotlight. Each perfectly lit photo and celebratory update whispers the same message: that our flaws must be hidden, our struggles silenced, and our vulnerability concealed. But what we often forget is that social media is a stage, one where the messiness of life is cropped out and edited away. Behind the polished scenes lie the untold stories of effort, failure, and imperfection. Yet we chase this distorted ideal, believing that only by mirroring the perfection we see can we earn acceptance, love, and success. The truth is that social media doesn't reflect life. It reflects the carefully chosen fragments people want us to see, creating a dangerous and unattainable standard. But perfection is not the same as excellence. Striving for growth, mastery, and improvement is not the issue. These pursuits are healthy and fulfilling. The danger lies in perfectionism, which is rooted not in a desire to excel but in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. It is a mindset that transforms mistakes into catastrophes and shortcomings into evidence of inadequacy. This fear often leads to paralysis, as the thought of falling short becomes so overwhelming that we stop trying altogether. Alternatively, it drives us to overcompensate, pouring endless hours into refining every detail until exhaustion takes over. In both cases, perfectionism becomes a barrier to success rather than a pathway to it. Instead of allowing ourselves to learn and grow through imperfection, we become trapped in a loop of unrealistic expectations that stifles progress and diminishes joy. Consider how much of your life has been spent trying to meet impossible standards. How many precious moments of joy have been postponed because the conditions weren't perfect? How many ideas have you dismissed, projects left unfinished, and dreams abandoned because you were afraid they wouldn't measure up? Perfectionism convinces us that we must have all the answers, every detail figured out, before we can even begin. But the truth is that progress is born not from perfection, but from action. Every masterpiece started as a rough draft. Every groundbreaking idea began as an imperfect spark. Greatness is not achieved through meticulous planning or endless polishing. It is forged in the doing, the trying, the failing, and the learning. Each imperfect step forward holds more value than 1,000 perfectly planned but unrealized intentions. The cost of perfectionism extends far beyond personal dissatisfaction. It reaches into the very core of our mental and emotional well-being, often with devastating consequences. The relentless pressure to meet impossible standards breeds anxiety, depression, and chronic stress, quietly eroding our inner peace. The inner critic, once a faint whisper, grows into a relentless voice of judgment, drowning out any semblance of self-compassion. Every perceived flaw becomes evidence of inadequacy, and every small mistake feels catastrophic. This harsh internal dialogue isolates us, creating a psychological barrier between who we are and who we believe we should be. Relationships, too, suffer under this weight. The need for control, the demand for perfection, not only from ourselves but sometimes from those around us, creates distance and emotional disconnection. Vulnerability, the very thing that fosters intimacy and trust, becomes something to avoid. In striving to appear perfect, we hide behind an impenetrable mask of flawlessness, fearing that any crack in this facade might expose us to rejection or judgment. This self-imposed isolation deepens the internal struggle, making it nearly impossible to ask for help or admit vulnerability, perpetuating a lonely cycle of silent suffering. Yet there is a path to freedom, and it begins with a radical shift in perspective. Embracing imperfection, recognizing that flaws are not failures but essential aspects of the human experience, is the first liberating step. Mistakes are not evidence of inadequacy but milestones on the path of growth. When we accept that imperfection is not only inevitable but necessary for learning and evolution, we loosen the suffocating grip of perfectionism. Imagine the profound relief in letting go of the need to be perfect, in finally allowing yourself to be seen, fully and unapologetically, as you truly are. Flaws and all, this acceptance creates an expansive space within, one that nurtures self-compassion, invites creativity, and fosters genuine connection with others. It allows you to engage fully in life, to take risks without fear of judgment, to learn from missteps, and to grow without the paralyzing weight of impossible expectations. Embracing imperfection doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means shifting your focus from unattainable ideals to authentic growth and fulfillment. Transitioning from perfectionism to authenticity is not an effortless leap. It is a deliberate and conscious effort that unfolds over time. It begins with self-awareness, the courage to recognize when perfectionist thoughts are creeping in. Pay attention to the moments when you hesitate to start something because it isn't just right. Notice when you harshly criticize yourself for minor missteps. These thought patterns are deeply ingrained but not unchangeable. Challenge them. Ask yourself powerful reframing questions. What would I attempt if failure didn't scare me? What possibilities might open if I allowed myself to be imperfect? Begin taking imperfect action. Speak your ideas aloud, even if they feel incomplete. Start projects without obsessing over every detail. Celebrate progress instead of perfection. Each small, imperfect step chips away at the walls perfectionism has built. gradually opening a door to a more fulfilling, liberated life. Over time, these small shifts accumulate, creating momentum and building resilience against the inner critic's demands. Gratitude is another powerful tool in breaking free from the chains of perfectionism. When we intentionally focus on what is working in our lives and acknowledge what we have accomplished, we cultivate a mindset of sufficiency. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is missing to what is present. It reminds us that we are enough, even in our unfinished, evolving state. Gratitude grounds us in the present moment, liberating us from the relentless chase for more. By appreciating our own efforts, however small they may seem, we begin to recognize value in the process rather than solely in the outcome. This shift fosters a greater sense of self-acceptance and diminishes the hold of external validation. Ask yourself regularly, what small victories have I overlooked because I was too focused on what wasn't perfect? In those overlooked moments lies a wealth of progress and personal growth waiting to be acknowledged. Reflect deeply. How much of your freedom has been sacrificed in the pursuit of perfection? How many moments of joy, creativity, and meaningful connection have slipped away because you believed you had to get it right before showing up fully? These are not trivial reflections. They are essential invitations to reclaim your time, your energy, and your sense of self. Perfection is not the goal. The goal is to live fully, to embrace growth, and to find meaning in the beautifully messy process of becoming. True fulfillment lies not in the flawless execution of life's tasks, but in the courage to participate wholeheartedly, imperfections and all. Imagine the boundless joy, creativity, and connection you could experience if you allowed yourself the freedom to be perfectly imperfect. As you continue forward, I encourage you to pause and reflect on your own journey. How has the pursuit of perfection shaped your life? How many opportunities for growth, connection, and self-expression have been missed in the name of perfection? What steps can you take today to begin embracing imperfection and living authentically? I invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story holds immense power. By sharing your journey, you can inspire others who are quietly struggling under the weight of perfectionism to begin their own path toward freedom. Together, we can create a space where progress is celebrated, flaws are embraced, and authenticity is honored. Thank you for engaging in this exploration. May you find the strength to release the illusion of perfection and the courage to embrace the beauty of your imperfect, extraordinary life. Remember this: your worth is not determined by how flawless you appear, but by how authentically you live and how boldly you grow. Let this truth guide you as you move forward, free, imperfect, and beautifully human.